This is the Injury Report, presented by NYU Langone Health. This week on Injury Report, we are taking a closer look at the health of Knicks forward Josh Hart, who's been playing through a significant nerve injury in his right shooting hand. Hart's been dealing with tingling and numbness in his fingers since last season's Eastern Conference Finals, and while he's chosen to put off another surgery to keep playing, that decision comes with risk. To help us better understand the impact of this kind of injury and what it means for his game and what the road to recovery could look like, we're joined by Dr. Jacques Hacquebord, Chief of the Division of Hand Surgery from NYU Langone. He's with me now. Dr. Hacquebord, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
I'm glad to have you here to talk about this injury with Josh Hart. Let's start with this. Can you explain what happens when a player suffers nerve damage in the hand, particularly one that causes numbness or tingling in the shooting fingers?
Well, the vast majority of the time when you have numbness and tingling in the hand, the injury to the nerve is higher up. It's not in the hand. So I don't know the specifics of his injury. I don't know exactly what happened to him, but I suspect that his injury was higher up. And so it's not an injury in the hand, but higher up. And so uh, that needs to be identified where the location of the injury is, and that needs to be addressed.
That definitely needs to be addressed. Something Hart is trying to figure out. He's trying to play through it right now. Now, he did mention this, Dr. Hacquebord. He did say that the numbness affects him not only while playing, but also during daily activities, right? Like typing, things of that nature. What does that tell you about the severity and persistence of this kind of injury?
Yeah, that's very common. What it tells me is that there's a problem, an anatomical problem, that gets exacerbated with all activities, not just forceful activities in sport, so that it's that nerve is very compressed, that nerve is very irritated, and it doesn't require just the most strenuous activities to irritate that nerve. So it's something that we would consider to be a more serious issue.
A more serious issue for Josh Hart that he's dealing with. Now, Hart did decide against another surgery, doctor, because he said it would sideline him, for 2 to 3 months. From a medical standpoint, how risky is it to delay surgery on a nerve injury like this in the hand?
Well, if someone has constant numbness and tingling in the hand, or those symptoms are brought about very easily with minimal activities, or that the severity of the numbness and tingling is high, then you worry about postponing it because you worry about irreversible damage to the nerve.
Yeah, so that's something you have to consider with all your options there. Let me also ask you this. In your experience, can a player, obviously playing basketball in this situation, can they fully adapt to their shooting motion to compensate for nerve-related numbness, or does that typically limit consistency and touch over time?
Well, I think we can all surmise to what the answer to that question is, and it's these athletes are so finely tuned. They're so precise in their movements. They've practiced something innumerable times, and so they know exactly the difference between good and perfect. And having numbness of a finger, while it may seem relatively small, I think this can be hugely impactful to someone who is a ball player and has to have that feel of the ball and the pressure, monitoring the pressure and having the perfect movement to accomplish what they intend to do. So yeah, I think it can be uh, a very impactful problem.
Yeah, it can. It's not just even the shooting, right? It's going for rebounds, sometimes deflection, steals, that nature. Your hand is always in play with basketball. In terms of treatment, doctor, are there non-surgical therapies such as physical therapy, nerve stimulation, or any strength training that can help maintain function or sensation in the meantime while playing with this injury?
It's really important to identify what his injury is. And I've been reading the reports and I hear that he has a nerve injury in the hand. But once again, I think it's probably higher up, and I suspect it's a nerve injury closer to the elbow that's manifesting in the hand. And most likely, a guy at his caliber with symptoms that have been going on for as long as they have, this is most likely not something that can be addressed with non-surgical options. If the injury, nerve irritation is more mild, then one can consider therapy and activity modifications, how you sleep at nighttime. All those things may help, but with him, this sounds to be more serious, and he's most likely past that point.
Okay, so he's past that point there. We've seen him play, and Josh Hart's known for playing hard, right? We've seen him continue to bring his trademark
Mhm.
hustle and his energy despite the pain. Is it common for athletes to be able to play effectively with nerve injuries, even when sensation, particularly at this point in the hand, isn't 100%?
Well, if you're losing sensation, that is uh, almost always not painful. You can have situations where there's a numbness, but there's a painful numbness. And if there's a painful numbness, we as humans were designed in a way that we can't ignore pain. So if he's having pain, no, he can't ignore that. But the numbness on its own may be something that he could ignore if it weren't painful.
Last thing for me, because we always like to ask this, right? We talk about athletes here, but how would a non pro athlete recover from this type of injury? If you had this in front of you, how would you treat them?
Uh, the once again, this I think for this, there's not a difference between a pro athlete and a non-pro athlete,
Okay.
because you don't want to mess around with nerve injuries. If you believe that there is irreversible damage to the nerve being done, you can't wait. And that's for the non-pro athlete and a pro athlete too, because if there's irreversible damage to the nerve being done, you worry about this being detrimental to their career going forward. And a non-pro athlete, the same thing. You don't want permanent nerve damage. So I would treat these the same way.
All right. You got to be careful when you have any nerve injuries, even whether the hand or anywhere, is something you want to definitely check out. That is Dr. Jacques Hacquebord with NYU Langone, head of the division of hand surgery, chief of the division, excuse me, of hand surgery from NYU Langone. Dr. Jacques, appreciate the time here on Injury Report, and we will talk again down the road. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dexter.